All right, hello everyone. Hey, my guest was backstage, so we were just talking, and we're gonna get this party started early. I have our speaking of early, I have our early meeting in the morning, so yeah, we're gonna get going early. So I have Jamal from Keita Auto, the Keita Auto channel today. So we're gonna talk sim racing, and I'm gonna learn a lot because I don't know what sim racing is. Well, I have a brief idea of what sim racing is now after talking to Jamal just briefly, but he's going to tell us some more about it. This is a science and technology channel, and this absolutely falls underneath that umbrella. I just thought of something else I want to ask Jamal uh, when we start the Q&A, but I'm going to play the intro. I'm going to share this on my original channel, and then I'm going to bring Jamal up, and then we're gonna start. Let's see who's that there in the chat. Complex, can you hear me? I'm using a new mic, and I thought I was using it on Saturday and Sunday, and it turns out I was using the computer mic. So if you can hear me, let me know. Well, I was just talking to Jamal, so he knows. He can hear me. All right, I'm gonna play the intro. I'm gonna share this on my original channel, then we'll start because it's late here on the East Coast. Complex is still early for you on the West Coast. All right, all right. Let me make sure this is streaming. I mean, the fact that Complex, you just said something that that means that people can see this on YouTube. Yep, there we go. There's that pretty red car. Thank you for the likes I've gotten so far. All right, so intro, which I promised to change over my hiatus, and then I'm going to share it, and then I'll be back with Jamal. All right, hello everyone, and welcome back to Big Discussions 76, Science and Technology. Bear with me for one moment here. I didn't adjust all the settings in the background. YouTube wants to know whether or not it's for children or not. I think children would like this, but I set it to not for children. And let me just do this one. And the recording date. And there we are. Okay, so I'm done with that for now. All right, welcome. It's rare that I do these on a Monday, but me and Jamal, we had been talking back and forth and trying to coordinate days. And he threw out Monday, Wednesday, and I think Friday. I'm usually out at a social gathering. Wednesday is one of my go in the office days. So afterwards, I'm kind of beat. So I said, let's do this now. And I just did a stream on Saturday. So it's rare on this channel for me to do streams. They're usually weekly. So it's rare for me to do these back to back like this, but it's for a good reason. So anyway, so today, tonight we're gonna learn about sim racing. I guess this would fall under technology. And I first learned about Jamal and his channel on Keita Techie's channel. So shout out to Keita Techie. So I thought it would be a good idea. I thought it'd be fun for him to come over here and talk to us about what he's doing. I did watch his channel a little bit. And so, hey, let's learn something about sim racing and what that is and what the future of that is. I actually thought of a question as I was getting ready regarding the metaverse and if this is all going to become virtual at some point. But let's ask Jamal about it.
Yo, what up, man?
What on, Jamal?
What's up, man? You doing all right?
Yeah. How about you?
Pretty good, man. Glad you got me on. Glad we finally got that schedule thing.
You know what?
Together.
You know what? Sometimes it takes a while. You know, folks have lives. Folks are busy, and then you're traveling. I'm traveling, and work. So sometimes it takes a little while.
Yeah, and that time difference, man.
Yeah. Which time zone are you in?
I'm Central.
You Central. Okay, so you're an hour behind. So if you someplace like Chicago.
Yeah. I'm actually in Texas.
Texas. Okay.
Yeah. So if you did this at like 10. Well, actually, no. That's what I'll be dealing with my other partner. He on the West Coast complex. He be on over on the West Coast. So he be trying to do things at 8:00, and I'll be like about to pass out because I'm sleeping.
Yep. I know what you mean. Mm-hmm. Which part of Texas are you in?
Dallas.
Okay. All right. That's a fun city.
Yeah, it's getting fun. It used to be boring. Now it's just expensive. But anyways.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, let's jump in. So your channel is about sim racing, right? Mm-hmm. And you're going to tell us more about what that is. But talk about what sounds like you're from Texas, but talk about your background and where you're from.
Yeah, so I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised. My whole family's from Louisiana. A bunch of entrepreneurs in my family on both sides. So that's where I come from. I kind of got that mindset of like get it out on your own. You know what I mean? I've always been into racing, so I've always wanted to like go in like the mechanic field and like be within like race car teams and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So that was my goal. I went to Texas Southern University. I didn't graduate there, but I did wind up graduating at University of Texas at Dallas. Got my degree there. Been a project man. I was a project manager for a few years. Then I just ventured out and jumped into the field of photography and videography, and became self-employed within that industry. And now I'm a content creator for all things racing.
Okay. Now, where did your love for racing come from? How did that start?
Well, I'm gonna tell you the truth. I believe it started like with my brother. See, my brother, he used to. So this was like in the early '90s, the mid '90s. He used to have a bunch of lowrider magazines, and he would just have them all over the place. And he would also like constantly build lowrider like model cars. He would just build them, and like a lot of times he would help. I would help him, or he would have remote control cars like the gas powered ones, and I would like to learn about that. So ultimately, he went a different route when he went into cars, and then I kind of went more into like the racing route, like the Japanese racing route. And then that's when I started getting into Gran Turismo, the game. And ever since then, it's just been like a wormhole, you know? So
Okay.
that's really what got me into it. It was just, if it wasn't for PlayStation, I don't know where I would be when it comes to racing.
Okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
interesting. I mean, in just talking to you, I was I watched some of your content, but I haven't watched as much as probably someone like Complex has. So I was thinking we'd be kind of like in the NASCAR space, but
Mm-hmm.
we're kind of in the sim car or the sim racing space. We're in the the digital aspect of it. So did you start? What led you to sim racing? Were you in video arcades? Were you playing Nintendo or Sega
Mm-hmm.
Genesis or what?
So
PlayStation? What?
yeah, it was PlayStation. It was the first PlayStation, the silver one. The ones where the CDs never worked. You got to put alcohol on them to clean them.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah, I used to play Gran Turismo, and I bought my first wheel and pedal set when I bought Gran Turismo 3. So that was probably like 2000, 2001 maybe. Anyways, I bought that. It didn't really go too good. So I took like a long hiatus. And then a lot of things went on in life. So I kind of like put racing on the back burner. But then recently, within the past 4 to 5 years, that's when I got back into sim racing. You know, I started with my controller. Getting back into Gran Turismo. And then I started with my controller. And then I just moved on from there.
Okay.
So,
So
mm,
for the layperson, I'm the layperson here. Gran
mm.
Turismo. Is
Yes.
that
Yes.
sounds like
So,
it was a big game like Grand Theft Auto or Halo or
mm.
something like that.
Yeah, it was. That game was very groundbreaking in the sense of cars because within that game it taught you so much about what a car does. It would explain like basic stuff like what's a muffler. When you purchase this turbo to put it on your car, how much horsepower are you gaining? What are the benefits of it? What are the drawbacks of it? You know, it would talk about like turbo lag, how you have to add fuel because you have a turbocharger, things of that nature. It would just talk about like, you know, this is a mid-engine car versus a front-engine car. You know, just talk about different aspects like that. So that's why Gran Turismo, I'm not gonna lie, if it wasn't for Gran Turismo, I don't think I would know a lot of things about cars because it was very fundamental and it is teaching you very basic, simple knowledge that, you know, back then you didn't have the internet like that. You know what I mean? Like I had AOL dial up, but it was pretty tough to get on the internet to learn if you didn't, you know, if your mama didn't pay for that demo disc. You know what I mean? So I had to learn from like Gran Turismo and things like that.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this up just so everybody knows what we're talking about. I mean, I know
Mm-hmm.
everyone in the chat knows what we're talking about, but for the
Mm-hmm.
layperson, for the uninitiated, like myself, I'm gonna pull it up. And you know what's funny is that as you were saying that,
Mm-hmm.
that's how I learned football.
Well, like
Playing the game.
NCAA,
Sorry,
like NCAA football and
just
stuff.
football in general. Just football in general.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't play growing up,
Mm-hmm.
so no one really showed me the game. I was a basketball guy, and then my best friend, he got Tecmo Bowl on his Nintendo, and that's how I started really learning football. I learned the
Yeah,
rules. I learned what the positions were. I learned what what a touchdown was and an interception. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's it's kind of sounds like an analogy. So okay, so here's Gran Turismo. Well, this is 7.
yeah. That's yeah, yeah. That's the new one. Yeah, the new one. The newest one I believe is Gran Turismo 7. I don't play it that much, but yeah, that's the new one.
Okay.
Mm.
So that means that there have been 7 editions of this.
Actually, there have been more because there have been like kind of like how do you say like prologues and ones that really don't count. You know what I mean? Like little demo disc ones that really don't count.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I guess you can count it. Probably say about 8, maybe 8 or 9 altogether.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, most people within the sim racing world they start on Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So let me see. So tell us about so you said you had done some go-kart racing. So
Mm-hmm.
you had done some in a live vehicle before.
Yeah, I've done
Extensively.
some. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, so it sounds like you had in addition to the sim racing, you had done some driving in a live vehicle, racing in a live vehicle.
Yeah, so it's in a go kart, and these go karts they don't have bars like the off road go karts. These are the ones that are just like they're like the top is chopped off, so like you're really exposed to the elements. I did that for about 3 years. I bought my first car during the pandemic, and I got a good deal because it was the pandemic. So yeah, that's when I jumped in and I did some karting racing over the past 3 years. I actually just got out of it probably about 7-8 months ago. So
Okay.
mm-hmm.
So talk about your channel. Well, Keita Auto. What does the name mean? Keita.
So when I did photography, I went by the name Jamal Keita. Keita being from like Mali, it basically means like worshiper. Um, that's the translation of their translation of Keita is, and Jamal being my first name. But yeah, I just switched over to Keita Auto because it was an easy transition to go from Jamal Keita to Keita Auto. And yeah, so with my channel, basically it's really sim racing focused. We do all things sim racing. Our main title that we really focus on is Setta Corsa Competizione. It's short. We call it ACC. And basically, that's a simulation game. It's like Gran Turismo, but it's not. It's way more realistic. Um, it doesn't allow you to get away with certain things. For instance, like in Gran Turismo, the way you may brake before you hit a corner or hit a turn, it may not impact your times like that. But in ACC, it really impacts your time if you do not use the correct technique to navigate through that particular turn. And that's the game that we play over on my channel within my community. We play that game. Sometimes we play other games where we say like first look and we just try to compare them and compare the differences between those other games and ACC. Then a lot of times we review races, whether it be Formula One or the particular series that we constantly talk about on our channel now, which is called Super GT. And what Super GT is, it's a Grand Touring racing series that's centered and based over in Japan. And though they race only Japanese, well, they don't race only Japanese cars, but majority of the cars that are racing that series are Japanese. So whether it be Toyota, Honda, or Nissan, or Subaru, we would generally focus on them because that particular series does not get covered a lot over here on this side of this side of the globe. So we try to be the first and the only, apparently, to cover that particular racing series over here. And so yeah, we talk about that over there as well.
So now you're talking. So those are live
racing
racers. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Are all of the participants Japanese, or are there people coming from multiple countries?
Multiple countries. Mostly they are Japanese, but a good 10 to 15% of them are. Because it's kind of seen as like not a feeder series, but it's kind of seen like as a series to where people try to go there to get not their feet wet, but it's like a premier series that they try to use that as like something good on their resume. You know what I mean? But it's a really tough series because it's very competitive. So. Mm-hmm.
And what's it called again?
It's called Super GT.
Okay. Well, let me again for those
non-initiate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
Super
a fun series.
GT Racing.
Yeah, Super GT. It used to be called JGTC, but that was like in the early 2000s, in the 90s. But they changed the name. So. Yeah, those are the cars.
So what kind of cars are we looking at right now?
That's a BMW M4. So there are two series. You have the GT500 category, and then you have the GT300 category. The GT300 category is built to different specs than the GT500 category. Generally speaking, the GT500 cars are faster than the GT300 cars. They're faster due to the power output as well as the aerodynamics that are built around the car. And when I speak of aerodynamics, I mean as well as like the wing structure, uh, the uh, the wing structure, the front bumpers, the window, the side flares, the wheel width, just how they build a car, just in general, is totally different between the two categories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Now, is this like NASCAR where they have the teams and the guys are pulling over mid race and taking off the tires? And
correct. The only difference is outside of it being only Japanese in some German cars, is that in NASCAR they don't switch drivers. Like that particular car right there or that particular car, it's a two-man team usually. It's usually two drivers that switch. One person, like say if it's 75 laps or 70 laps, somebody might do 35 or somebody might do 40, but then the other driver needs to do 30 because that driver may not be good in the start of a race. He might actually suck in the start of a race. So why not put him in the middle or towards the end because he's good when the action's going. You know what I mean? Or that driver might be good only for qualifying, so we only use him for qualifying. Um, yeah, so in NASCAR they don't have a two driver system. They might have two drivers on the same team, but there's never two drivers that are driving the same car, from what I know.
okay,
Mm.
um, we've been talking about energy and fuel, energy and
Mm.
fossil fuels on this channel recently. These cars, do they use standard
Racing
gasoline or
fuel.
do they use something else?
They use very high octane racing fuel. Currently, right now, they're doing a lot of testing with some carbon neutral fuel. So they will be going to fully carbon neutral next year. They were actually supposed to run it at the last race, if I'm not mistaken, but it was just a bunch of faulty tests that didn't go through. But next year they will be fully carbon neutral, if I'm not mistaken. They'll be fully carbon neutral. They're trying to what's the word? What's the tech lingo? They're trying to reduce their carbon footprint.
Yes. So
So
they're,
that's
they're
what they're
trying to
doing.
become a little more green. That was one of the
Mm.
things I was thinking about when we were talking about doing the stream was, you know, with the effort to get away from fossil fuels. Well,
Mm.
racing, you're using fossil fuels all for pleasure.
Right, 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 right. And the louder the car is, the more we like it, which is polluting the air more too. So
You said the louder the car.
well, we're just saying, just in general, like a car person, like anybody that likes cars, we like cars that are super loud. So obviously, the louder the car is, the more fuel you're using and the more pollution you're giving out. So
Okay. Now, is that dictated? Is that a measure of how strong the engine is, or how big the engine is, or what?
I'm not. I mean, not necessarily. It's just not necessarily. It's just kind of like I guess just a stereotype in general. Race car people like loud engines. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, which is kind of why there's a lot of uproar too, as well, because there are a good amount of electric cars that are being developed right now. There are a good amount of hybrid cars right now that are being developed as well as being used. There's a racing series right now where they don't even use fuel. Like it's straight electric, it's straight hybrid. You know what I mean? Or not hybrid, but it's straight electric. But they do have hybrid series as well.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. That was going to be my last question. Is there any movement towards electrification?
Mhm.
But I
Oh,
think
there it
I
is.
think yeah, you answered that, and it sounds like they're moving towards a carbonless fuel.
Mhm.
Okay, well let's go back into the sim racing world. It
Mhm.
sounds like this is pretty big. I mean, is this something that guys kind of meet up and do after hours, or are guys sim racing all day, all night?
It's
What's the
both.
lifestyle like?
It's both. There's a lot of people that that race all day. Like you'll see certain dudes. I wish I could be one of them, but it's got too many bills. But there's a lot there's a lot of dudes, man, that just they race all day. Like they just stream themselves racing all day. And their times reflect and their skills reflect. And then you have certain people where it's like they get off of work and then they race till night. You know what I mean? Or they'll join certain leagues, kind of like middle aged men. We got softball leagues and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
They'll join racing leagues to where they can race on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So yeah, they have that as well.
So you said skill. So there's a skill. There's a skill to this. There's a muscle you grow to sim race.
Yeah, mainly your mind, um, and muscle memory and coordination. Um, so, for instance, check this out, right? So, say I was running a 400, right, in track,
Mm-hmm.
right? Say you're really fast. You're really fast for that first 200 meters, right? And you're just leaving folks. But you start looking back and you start seeing that guy's catching you. That guy's catching you. So either your mind clicks to, all right, I just need to continue to run my own race and finish this race and don't worry about him, or you start worrying about him and then that starts to impede on your performance. Same thing within racing. Um, mental strength and mental dexterity is probably going to be the most sought out attributes that a race car driver or sim racer will try to accumulate or try to gain, because you have to stick to your game plan. You have to stay calm under pressure. You can't really be too much worried about what's going on behind you and what's in front of you. You just have to have a goal and you have to stick to it. When you're going around a track 100 times, you're hitting that same turn. You're hitting that turn. You're hopefully hitting that same turn the same like at the same way each time you go around that track. And that's tough because you get tired, your mind gets tired, and then like me, if it's in a 45-minute race and you got to pee, what do you do? But that happened to me earlier today. That's why I was talking about that. I had to pee. But anyways, yeah, man, it's a lot of skills that go into it, man. It's just knowing when to do it, knowing when to get off the brake, knowing how to slowly let off the brake and then getting on the gas at the right turn, right time, knowing when to brake, knowing when not to brake. Some people brake and then some people don't. You'll clearly see the difference, and you'll clearly see the difference in times and position at the end of the race. So there's a lot of skills that goes into
Okay.
it.
So this very much sounds like a subculture. It sounds like a world all in itself.
Oh yeah, it is. You can get sucked in. You'll be stuck here, man. And if your wallet ain't ready, you'll definitely be stuck here alone.
Really?
Yeah, because your wife will leave you because you know you're broke. But anyways,
All right. All right. All right. Well, it sounds like your wife is understanding of your racing.
yeah, very supportive.
Okay. Okay.
Very supportive.
Well, let's see. We're about at 30 minutes. So I don't have a lot left, but let me ask you this. And
Mhm.
if you're up for it, I'll drop the link. Complex could come up or whoever else. So virtual reality is is,
Mhm.
is is this, if it hasn't gotten to that point, you're hearing about the metaverse and everything, and you have your setup there. Is there going to come a point where you guys are going to put on goggles or something like that, and you're going to feel like you're actually in? Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah, we already had that.
Okay.
So yeah, there's a lot. If you search on YouTube, there's a lot of people that use VR headsets and they race with VR headsets. My computer's not strong enough to support that. Excuse me. My computer's not strong enough to support that, but there's a lot of people that use VR headsets to do races. You have certain people like me that I use a single screen, and then you have certain people that use like three screens, where it's like they have one screen in front of them and two screens on the side of them. So it's like it's like they're in a world of racing. And then you have people that
Mhm.
use VR headsets. Like one of our normal visitor on our channel within our family. His name is Formula Otaku. On his channel, he does a lot of VR racing. And it's crazy because like when you're watching his screen, he's doing like this, and you're watching it do like to move around, you know. And it's crazy to see it, but yeah, they're already there when it comes to VR. We're already there.
Okay, let me see if I have anything else. Yeah, I think we pretty much covered what I had. So Complex says there are tons there are lots of channels. Well, if it's that popular, then yeah, there would be lots of channels. So Jamal, are you racing against some guys in other countries?
Yeah. Usually when I race people, it's never people in America, to be honest with you.
Really?
Because of the time. Yeah, because of the times that I race. So I race on this format, this website called LFM, which is Low Fuel Motorsports. And the times that I can race, it's never when Americans are on there. It's usually just everybody else outside of America. Which honestly I think is better because to be honest with you, from what I'm seeing, there's a lot of I don't want to ruffle no feathers, right? But it seems like there's a lot more competition outside of the United States when it comes to GT racing. But that's just me.
Okay.
My opinion.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. So I'm thinking about something else, unrelated, but I mean you're married, so you wouldn't know about this, but it's being talked about how in the United States there are a lot of men who are not in the workforce and who are not and who are opting out of traditional lives, or they're spending their time in front of screens playing games. And
that's what they're doing. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
this is one of the outlets right here.
Yeah, you know, hey man, you like it, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean I gotta indulge in it because
well,
but it is what it is.
Well, from I don't know if you're familiar with the there's a podcast that I like called the Chris Williamson podcast.
Okay.
I forget the official name. Something Wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Something Wisdom. When other people come up on the stream, I'll modern. I think it's Modern Wisdom. Anyway,
okay.
With this phenomenon, one of the things he's pointed out is that it's probably a good thing that these men are immersed in the games as opposed to doing other things that are.
What was his reasoning?
Well, I mean, think about it. If it's true that there's a critical mass of men who can't get a wife or whatever, isn't it better that they're medicating themselves by playing games as opposed to out forming gangs and pushing over old ladies.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, yeah, of course, it's better. I think anything that keeps you away from doing any harm to other people, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. But I will say this: I do believe that there's a helmet for every head. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of girls out here that all they do is play Modern Warfare and Call of Duty. You know what I'm saying? Like, quote unquote, like me, I would consider myself a geek or a nerd, right? I'm a cool geek and nerd, right? There's plenty of other cool geek nerd chicks as well for them as well. You know what I mean? I think this could probably go into a whole nother topic, but I think that's when you just get over certain barriers within your mind that you're able to, accumulate what you dream of or fantasize about.
Okay. One last question, because Aquateki kind of got to this in the chat. He said the only thing that seems to be missing is experiencing the inertia / G-force firsthand. So is it? I imagine you have pedals, you have your steering wheel. I imagine there are effects there that make you feel the car going this way, or the car pitching too much to this direction or that direction, or maybe collisions. You feel that, right? It's simulated.
Yes. So with my steering wheel, like I feel like when my car is losing traction, There are certain haptic like peripherals that you can add to the pedals to make it feel to let you know when the brakes are starting to lock up or when the accelerator. But most importantly, to answer his question, they have 3D motion. They have motion simulator rigs to where they move around. So basically, like they're really expensive, but it's kind of like when you're turning left, like the whole rig will move to that way. You know what I mean? So they have motion rigs to answer this question.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Jamal, you cool with some of the other guys coming up during your hour here?
I don't care, man. I'm welcome to meet everybody. I like meeting people.
Okay. Before I'm gonna drop the link. Can you tell us about the? We talked about that movie coming out before we started. Can you tell us about? You said that was a real guy.
Yeah. So Gran Turismo is releasing a movie. Well, it's already released. I don't know if it's released or whatever, but it's based off of a true story. There's this guy named Jan Yardenbro. I believe he's from Holland. A brother, and he was really good at Gran Turismo. And Gran Turismo put out a contest back in the 2000s, early 2000s, to where if whoever's the best Gran Turismo driver, they will get a chance to compete in an academy. I think it was called like Nissan Academy, and they get a chance to race real cars in real life. He won that. He won that. He was the first winner of that particular academy that Gran Turismo put out. That's what the movie's based on. It's based on his trials and overall winning of that particular program.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Everyone, I just dropped the link. If someone wants to come up with us, we got about 20 more minutes. I have a hard stop tonight because I have an early meeting. But if anyone else wants to come up, Complex, anybody, and it looks like some of you guys are into sim racing, just like Jamal. So yeah, you guys can come up now. Or so while we get through this last 20 minutes, Jamal. So do they come out with the Gran Turismo? Is it just like Madden where they come out with a new edition every year or every other year? Or
No, not with Gran Turismo. It's usually like because nowadays like you can just release updates. They don't come out with like ones like every year like that anymore.
right?
But Gran Turismo it used to be like every other year, every 2 years, but now it's like I feel like it's like every 3-4 years now. You know what I mean? Like I don't think there's been a new Gran Turismo in a while. So, uh, yo, what's up? We got this guy in here.
Hey, dude, I'm one of your biggest fans.
Oh man, thank you.
Hold on, Complex.
Thank you.
Hey, what's going on, Dr. Zambar? That's my boy right here, man. Salute to Jamal.
What
Okay.
up, man?
Complex, do you do the sim racing yourself?
Yeah, I do with this guy right here.
Okay.
He's
Yeah. So
my crime partner.
yeah, we nerd out on this stuff, man. And I've like learned a lot. I've learned a ton from this dude, to be honest with you, man. So this guy has like a wealth of knowledge. I always promote his channel for those of you guys that are really curious about sim racing and all that. Please subscribe to the Keita Auto channel. I'm just coming up here to just do some promotion. I also wanted to ask, are you going to run some demo laps?
I didn't plan on it. I mean, he got a hard stop, man. We ain't gonna be able to do that.
How
I
long
don't
is
know.
the demo lap?
I was figuring if you're talking sim racing, maybe you could show them too.
Hey, Dr. Omar, I was gonna ask you, man. Have you ever thought about like haptic suits? Like when people play like first person shooter games, but like suits that you actually slip in, it's like you can feel everything.
Have I ever thought about that?
Yeah.
No.
See, that's what man. I think we talked about this before, Complex, but it was like I was thinking that they would have something like that for a race car driver, like for sim races, where it's like you put on a suit and you just feel everything. You feel like the wind blowing, you feel like the gravel hit you in the helmet, that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they do. They do have that stuff, man. As a matter of fact, Elon Musk they have haptic gloves that you could buy right now for $5,000, and then
You
there's
mean
a
Twitter
haptic
X?
body. Is that what? Yeah, Twitter X. I'm sorry, Twitter X. So they have haptic gloves that you could buy for $5,000, and then there's a haptic bodysuit for like I think it starts at 10,000 for like the chest part, and it goes. It's like if you want the full suit, it
Yeah,
goes up from there. But
that's
they
chump
already have
change.
something like that. Yeah, yeah, right. That's nothing, right? Just right. Um,
So,
but then there's also the haptic speakers, and then there's
mm,
like the haptic motion. Where what they're actually they're doing now is, have you seen these spring loaded things that you put on the sim rig where you sit? And so like I guess what it is the springs in and of itself, along with the haptic sound, gives the motion and vibration, and it's like
mm,
an alternative to like the full motion rig, like the, like the hydraulic motion rigs.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
I ain't
So
seen
I
that.
think,
I ain't seen it, man.
yeah, haptics is, I think that's going to be the next wave. Yeah.
All right, we have someone else here. This is TechRX. Before you speak, TechRX, NASCAR guy 22 says Jamal was an independent driver in the karting scene. He was fast.
Hey, thanks, man. I feel
Oh
old.
man, there you go.
You, thanks, man. I really appreciate that, man. I miss those days.
All right, TechRX.
Hey, Professor, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, brother?
How you doing, Complex?
What's up,
Good,
Tech?
good, man. Good, good.
Hey, sim racing, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and not in terms of not only in terms of this, but it's being utilized in new technologies, from AI to everything. It's uh, again, for instance, in trying to run scenarios in terms of with all these like the popular NASCARs and all that. What people do right now, they take new cars and run it in sim racing. Basically, take the data from how new cars are being ran and run the simulation in sim racing to see how it basically will work before they take it out on real test drives. So they run simulations and see how that will handle with sims before you then take it to a real test drive, and then compare those data sets to see again if it's just a real scenario. So the
Very
sim
true.
racing is huge. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. It's it's not only utilized; it's also used in even the sports betting industry, utilizing and predicting. How can I
Mhm.
predict if I have all the data sets for all different races? What is the likelihood and what scenario do you think that one racer will beat the other? And then you make bets on it. It's
You know,
utilizing, it's used in every aspect. Sim racing is when I say multi-billion-dollar, it's growing it's going into the quantum computing, it's going to IoT, taking sensors, basically strapping sensors to every driver. So if a driver who beats now I think Monaco or something, one of the hardest
Monaco. Yeah, Monaco.
Monaco is, if I know there's a racer who has won it like 6 or 7 times, what I'm going to do is strap sensors on that racer and collect all that data to understand how he beat that track 6 to 7 times, and sell
Yep.
that data to every other competitor so you can beat that scenario 6 to 7 times. There's
Well,
a lot of money in that.
Tech. I had sent Jamal a video maybe 2 weeks ago, and this is a video that Mike V had sent me. And this was a discussion with the Red Bull F1 racing team and Cisco, their data partner. And what they were talking about is that they take all the data that you're talking about. I think it's like up to like 34 channels of data off of the car, but they only take 4 of those channels and put it into the sim. The rest of it is literally like secret.
Yeah. So some of the data sets, like how the car drives, the physics around the car, that's important. The how the driver moves and how the driver syncs in terms of eye movement, coordination, all that. That's important. So you're looking at every scenario, how the driver moves, the physics of the car, the engine reliability, everything about the car and the individual driving the car is important. All that data set is proprietary, based on again, if it's BMW, or those are proprietary data sets that they utilize to actually win and keep, to basically create algorithms to then draw scenarios on all this. So it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's what right now they're just scratching the surface in terms of
Right.
taking that data set, all that data, and running simulations on it. And people like Keita Auto and all that, they take their own data sets too. All the data sets they use when you see them start doing all these scenarios, they capture all that data set and
Yeah.
utilize that data set in real time too. How did this guy kid beat this track? What did he do? How did he maneuver? Take that data and then, okay, can we simulate it in real life? So it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and it's in everywhere, from gambling to scenarios, even metaverse. The metaverse is basically a high-level sim scenario, taking all their data sets and saying, okay, Monaco, how they recreate Monaco in the metaverse, and then throughout different data sets to recreate how to beat that track itself in the metaverse. So every every driver, every sim race, their data is that important and that valuable because it makes a lot of money.
Yo, can I
True.
show something real quick? Can I share my screen?
Yeah, go for it.
All right, I want to show you
Hey,
something. To everything he's saying, what he's saying is extremely true. So within sim racing, can you guys see it?
not yet. Oh, there it goes. And Jamal, that
All
was
right,
why I did want you to do some laps to kind of show them like the physics and everything. That really was. I was joking, but that's why I asked you.
makes sense. But like to what he's saying, he's totally right. Like for instance, this is like I'm not that good in it. I'm still learning it right now. But this is called Motec, and Motec it's just like a data analyzation tool that we use. Like for instance, you got like lap one, lap two, lap three, lap four, and basically like you can compare lap two with lap seven, or hold on, you can compare lap two with there we go. Compare it, and then like you can basically. So this would be my speed, right? So going into turn one, you can see it dipped on. You can see it dipped on lap two. I was actually faster on lap third or lap seven. So
Hmm.
basically, like you can use certain tools to show yourself certain things. Like you can see that you were in a certain gear at going into a turn. You can see how much brake you were using right here, and see like so. Basically, you can use these tools to compare yourself to other drivers because other drivers upload their data as well, and you can see how you can beat them or see how you can match them.
And this data is free. So
And it's free.
I can go there, harvest all these data sets and create algorithms and say, okay, he used this car. What physics around this can I utilize? Okay, this. At this scenario, why? Okay. I can use all this data set and try to run that scenario in real life and see if it actually can
Well,
recreate that. So it's
well,
a
Pat,
huge multi-billion-dollar industry.
we'll take care. Let's reverse the scenario. You know what we could also do? We could also take a map from a real car. So let's just say somebody actually is running a Motec system on their Porsche, right? Jamal drives a Porsche. So we could call a literal Porsche team, then they could send us a Motec map. We could load it into Motec and then translate it back into the car in Sim. Because if
Yeah.
we're like we're like you guys ran Spa. I have a race coming up this weekend. These are the conditions. What's the setup you guys had? They can send you the Motec data, and then you can load that in and backload it into your car in ATC.
And right now, there's a lot of startups that are focusing on this tech in terms of not only IoT, but also sensors, also even the analytics, capturing these analytics and selling it to big companies and saying, hey, how can we improve your probability of winning Monaco or winning this? How can we improve your probability of gaining that cup year to year to year? Can I get me your data? I run scenarios. I tell you how to win. I tell you who to pick as your best ride driver. Give you all these information so you can then win this year to year to year. If you don't win it, we're gonna revamp the algorithm. So you have the whole control, the car and the driver. So give me all these data and let me tell you who your best give you the best output. And this is what I know startups are doing right now, making a lot of money using data to run sims or simulations and all that, and basically making a killing. And that's part of AI too. So
Okay. So how long I know Complex said do a demo. How long does a demo take?
Oh, not long. All I gotta do is just turn on the game and just all I gotta do is just turn it on, and then it'll load up real quick. I could probably be on in like a minute.
All right.
All right, cool. Yeah, hold on.
By the way, Complex here in DC, man, I'm seeing scooters and all kinds of single wheel. Where was I yesterday?
Oh,
This guy came zipping by on a single wheel device.
They call them one wheels or mono wheels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I don't. I that's kind of like not my thing. I like two wheels. Yeah.
But the micromobility.
Yeah. I mean, but all those devices are cool. Like, some guys like the electric skateboard stuff. That's really not my thing either. But it all moves you around. It all gets you from point A to point B. Oh, and just real quick, while Jamal's getting ready, just one other thing to point out. So one of the other things that's like kind of important to sim racing is your peripherals, your actual wheel and pedals that you use. And, like it's gotten to the point where, you have direct drive setups that have like, various Newton meter power, in terms of size or output in terms of motors, right? And the output, man, and the force feedback, when you get the setup right, it's so realistic. It's so realistic. So, Jamal has a Fanatec wheel, and what is it? I think it's Fanatec pedals, but Hoosenvelt. Is that what it is? Oh, I don't know if Jamal can hear me.
Yeah, it's Hoosenvelt.
Okay, Hoosenvelt.
Pedals.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. I guess I need to share system audio too, right?
Yeah.
So, probably. I guess so. Oh yeah, and Dr. Dunbar, just make sure to stop me, man. You gotta, you know what I mean?
All right. Yeah, so basically, like you just go to these particular tracks that exist. Can you guys hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
All right. So you go to these tracks that exist all over the world. You can do like setup changes. Like I already have setups preloaded already, where you can change the PSI, toe, camber, caster. You can do things like change the anti-roll bar, bump stop rate, wheel rate, preload differential in the rear as well as in the front. Change settings to the dampers, which would be the suspension, like ride height, rear wing, all that crazy stuff that makes your it gives you a headache. But yeah, you just go out here. You just basically test, see how. These dudes are so loud, man. They're always telling you what to do. You just go out here and test and just see how fast you are compared to other people. I must admit, I'm not going to say I'm the fastest, but I ain't the slowest. If that mean anything. Just don't crash like me.
Good save. Good save.
Right. No, I meant to do that.
Cold tires, man. Cold tires.
I think this setup sucks too, by the way. But yeah, you just test out setups just to see how fast it would be within a race. And then a lot of times you'll see that your setup is garbage comparison to somebody else's because you're a lot slower. I do like one more lap. Oh Lord. Yeah, but you pretty much just do that.
Cold
But yeah,
tires.
but like we were talking about, it's really realistic. So if like you don't get the turns just right, you can send it off. If you don't turn the like steering wheel at the right radius.
Are you racing at Donington this week or something?
No, I'll be at Suzuka and Hungaroring.
Ugh, I can't stand Hungaroring.
I know. Hey, so one thing that I would change on this car, it's a little twitchy.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably give it more, like one click rear wing.
What, put more wing in it?
Yeah, I would add more rear wing. We should stabilize it throughout the turn, but it's really twitchy.
Yeah.
Like that, I want to take it deep, but I'm scared to because.
Well, your tires are warm now.
A little too warm.
Well, it's not going to slide as much. Now your car's gripping. Look.
Yeah, it's gripped up now.
Last two apps, you went off right there.
So the tires are warm. Can you see that somewhere?
Yeah. Can you see? Okay, you see those green, those four little green kind of like squares?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's three segments. That is the outside of the tire, the inside of the tire, and the middle of the tire. And if you notice, the left rear is getting yellow. So the hottest tire on the car is the left rear. But a lot of the high load turns are right turns. So it's going to load the right rear of the car because it's a Porsche and the motor sits in the back of the car. So more of the load is going to come to the back of the car as opposed to the front. So You'll always see loading like on that left rear. You'll see it, especially if a track is heavy in right turns. You're going to start to see the heat, right, come up in that left rear.
Okay.
I see one more route.
All right.
Keep missing that anyway, bro.
Yeah, your tires are hot. You're good.
And then also, I haven't done this track in a little bit.
Yeah, now the car's glued to the track. And the other thing, Dr. Dunbar, is that the tire models that they use to
Mm-hmm.
import into the game actually come from the real race cars. All of the physics come from our imported is data imported from the actual cars themselves. That's why they handle very much like the real. They literally are mirrored
Okay.
all the way on down to things like tire pressures, your camber, your caster angles, your suspension rates, and everything else. It's super realistic.
All right.
But yeah, that's all it is. It's just really just testing out what you got and just seeing how fast you can be, and then of course you're doing like 1,000 laps in practice, and then
Hey, show your
race.
whip real quick, man. You got to show your whip, dude. Oh, you closed
Oh
it?
yeah, it's too late now.
Oh no, you got to just bring it back up real quick. It's
You
apropos
got
for the.
time?
Yeah. One last visual.
All right,
Yeah,
cool. I just want to make sure, man.
yeah. Last visual. You got to show them, man.
Gotta show them the Pacific Rides whip.
Well,
The good thing
it's
about
more Keita Auto more.
So Jamal, I noticed you put gloves on. Is that part of the game, or is that?
well, it's the steering wheel is kind of it gets slippery,
Uh-huh.
right? So when my hands get sweaty, they're gonna get slippery. So the gloves
Usually,
they got like rubber, so it makes it easier to grip.
All
I
right.
think what is it? Is it Alcantara? The material on the wheel.
No, not on the wheel. This is like a polyurethane.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like rubberish a little bit. But yeah, there's the whip um, livery provided by Dario, right?
So you can
There it
also
is.
customize You can also do custom liveries on your cars in here.
Okay. So,
Mm-hmm.
so this is your custom livery.
Yeah,
Right there.
I didn't make that one, but yeah, that's the one I run.
Okay. And
Yep.
what model is that?
That's a Porsche 992 GT3R. It just got released.
That's the newest one.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can
Now,
always tell because the tail lights the other ones they kind of split up. This one goes straight across the back.
okay. Now, last question: does that add something to the performance, or is it
Yeah,
just
Down
downforce.
for image
downforce.
downforce?
Yeah, that's why he was saying he could probably benefit from putting a click on the wing to
Yeah.
actually add. So what that means is you're going to tilt the wing upward in the rear. So the air, when it comes across there's more of it that's going to go across the wake, which is actually going to add more force downward on the back of the car. So it plants the car harder, but you sacrifice straight line speed. So you get more traction and grip, but you sacrifice speed because there's more force going on in the back of the car versus if you loosen it up where the air can kind of flow over the wake a little more freely. It loosens the rear end of the car up. The car can go faster, but then it doesn't have enough downforce to plant it or hold it down. So there's these compromises that you have to make to set up.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. All right.
All right, man. That's yeah. That's my world right now.
Okay. Well, Jamal, I appreciate you coming and sharing this.
Hey, I'm
Hey
gonna
man,
drop off.
thank you for having
I'm,
me on here, man.
I'm gonna drop off and let you guys close out. Hey, Dr. Dunbar, once again, man, it's always been a pleasure.
Thank you, Complex.
Yes, sir. And Jamal, talk to you later on, man.
All right, man.
All right.
All right, Jamal, do you have anything else?
No, outside of man, I really do appreciate you having me on here and discussing this with me, man. Like, I like your channel, man. You're really cool brother, man. I learned a lot from you too on your channel as well.
Oh, appreciate that.
But thank you for having me on here, man. I like talking about this type of stuff And I love talking about tech and like learning new things. So once again, appreciate you having me
Okay,
on as
I'm
well.
definitely going to share this out so more people will see you and more people will know what sim racing is. You know.
Yeah, man, it's a big world, bro. Like you said, $1 billion industry.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and wind down. I'm going to shoot you an email when we get done.
All right, bet, man. Y'all have a good one, y'all.
All right. Take care. All right, everyone. Well, I just learned a whole bunch about sim racing and cars and what the spoiler does. And yeah, I'm out of the loop on a lot of things. Everyone, if anyone's new here, please definitely subscribe to the channel. This might be the last stream I do before I go on hiatus in August. The last stream that I do here. I'm a writer. I definitely have more stuff to write about now. I have a newsletter. There's a 2-paragraph greeting there, and then you click that subscribe button at the bottom and it takes you there. Please consider signing up. Thank you to everyone who has signed up. The link to this is in the description box below. I'm going to drop it in the chat right now. If you're new to the channel, please like, share, and subscribe. If you want to donate something, my Cash App and PayPal are below in the description box as well. And I think I've just given the entire spiel. So I think I will wrap up. Thank you, Jamal, for coming and talking about your channel and educating me on this and whoever else is unfamiliar with it. So everyone, I will talk to you next time. As always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Always try to do your best. Take care, and I will talk to you the next time. Bye-bye.